The mansion stood as a bastion of affluence, its stone facade cloaked in white drapery and gleaming softly under the subtle light emanating from numerous chandeliers. The scent in the air was a blend of fresh blossoms, delicate hints of luxurious fragrances, and traces of cigar smoke. Diddy's annual white soiree was renowned in Los Angeles, drawing the most powerful figures from the realms of music, cinema, and business. Invitations were highly sought after and scarce, making attendance a badge of true accomplishment for the fortunate few. Jordan Reed, one of the industry's most esteemed black artists, had attended his fair share of exclusive gatherings, but this event always felt unique. Perhaps it was the exclusivity or the company he kept, but something about Diddy's all-white festivity consistently made him feel uneasy. As he exited his polished black vehicle, Jordan's gaze immediately fixed on the sprawling estate. The dress code was strict, white attire. He had dedicated hours to selecting the perfect suit, a sleek, double-breasted jacket, impeccably tailored. He could feel the anticipation of the night pressing heavily on him. "Jordan, my man, great to see you," boomed a voice, greeting him before he could even straighten his cufflinks. It was P. Diddy himself, sporting his signature grin and a pristine white suit. Diddy extended a warm handshake, his presence commanding attention. The scene inside exuded sheer luxury, floor-to-ceiling windows offering views of the Los Angeles skyline, a stage set for a live band, and guests holding their glasses high, sharing laughs and polite conversations. Despite the vibrant atmosphere, Jordan couldn't shake the sense that beneath the sparkling surface, something more profound was unfolding. As Jordan delved deeper into the party, he began to notice emerging patterns. Black entertainers interacted among themselves, yet most of the high-profile attendees were non-black. It wasn't just the guest list that troubled him, it was the staff. He observed that most of the black employees were assigned menial tasks, carrying trays of beverages, setting up, and clearing tables, while non-black staff managed VIP guests or stood prominently at the forefront of the event, their faces illuminated by the spotlights. He quickly dismissed the thought, reminding himself that tonight was about celebration, not confrontation. The night was still young, and Jordan found himself engaged in conversations with some of Hollywood's brightest minds. However, his attention kept drifting back to his earlier observations. He couldn't ignore that the black staff, primarily men and women in their 20s, were handling the more physically demanding roles. One server, a young black woman, darted between the kitchen and the ballroom, balancing trays of drinks while navigating the slow-moving social circles. What truly struck Jordan was an incident near the bar. A black waiter, visibly nervous under the elite guest scrutiny, dropped a tray of drinks. The crashing sound echoed through the room. Instantly, a senior staff member, a non-black man, rushed over without offering any comfort. He barked at the waiter. "What is this? Get it together. You're ruining everything." The severity of the reprimand was jarring against the event's relaxed opulence. Jordan's eyes lingered on the waiter, who hastily bent down to clean the spill, humiliation evident on his face. He couldn't forget the waiter's embarrassment, especially since the non-black staff around him seemed to receive no such harsh treatment for minor mistakes. Later that evening, when another server, a non-black woman, dropped a glass, she faced no rebuke, only laughter and a soft apology. She was quickly reassured, and the incident was swiftly forgotten. Jordan turned away, sipping his drink, his mind racing. He caught the eye of Nia James, an actress known for her work in both television and film. She offered a polite nod. "Did you see that?" Jordan asked, leaning towards her. Nia rolled her eyes. "Jordan, that's how it is at events like this. You can't change the system overnight. But isn't that the point of all this?" Jordan responded, "If we're celebrating black excellence tonight, shouldn't it include everyone, even the staff?" She sighed, the weight of her words settling in. Sometimes it's easier to just blend in and not speak out. Well, it's complicated, and let's face it, this isn't the place for that kind of conversation. Jordan stared into his glass, troubled. She was right in many ways. This party, like many others, was designed to let people forget their problems, if only for one night. But Jordan couldn't ignore the unease growing within him. Later in the evening, seeking a moment of respite, Jordan slipped into the catering tent. He noticed a young black waiter standing alone, leaning against the tent's side, trying to catch his breath. Approaching him casually with a slight smile, Jordan asked, "You doing all right, man?" The waiter looked up, startled, then relaxed upon recognizing Jordan. "Oh, hey, man. Yeah, I'm good. Just a busy night, you know." Jordan chuckled. "I can imagine you've been running around all night." The waiter nodded, wiping his forehead. "It's always like this during big events. I get it, though. I sign up for it." His voice carried a note of forced optimism. Jordan raised an eyebrow. "Is that so?" The waiter's eyes darted around to ensure no one was listening. "Look, I get treated differently here. We all do, the black staff. We're expected to be invisible, here to serve, not to be seen. We clean up, refill drinks, carry trays, but we're never in the spotlight and no one ever talks about it." Jordan stood still for a moment, absorbing the waiter's words. It wasn't new to him. He had witnessed it many times in his career, but hearing it from someone who lived it daily made it resonate more deeply. "Is it always like this?" Jordan asked softly. "Yeah," the waiter replied with a shrug. "But it's what we do. You don't make waves. You just get through the night. I'm just happy for the paycheck, man. But it's like you're only here because they need people to keep things running smoothly. You're not meant to be part of the celebration." Jordan felt his heart grow heavy with the waiter's words. It was a stark truth that many chose to ignore, especially those who benefited most from the system. It wasn't just about the money. It was about feeling unseen, unappreciated, and trapped in a cycle where identity didn't matter. Only usefulness did. The party's energy surged as the music grew louder, the atmosphere becoming more intense. Jordan navigated through the crowd, trying to distract himself from the weight of the conversations he'd overheard. But when the next incident occurred, he couldn't ignore it. A black kitchen worker, barely out of his teens, made a mistake while plating desserts. He fumbled with a delicate pastry, and a part of it fell to the floor. Before he could begin cleaning it up, the head chef, a non-black woman, stormed over, her face flushed with anger. "How hard is it to get this right? You're embarrassing everyone. If you can't handle it, get out," she shouted. The young man's face froze, a mix of confusion and shame washing over him. Jordan felt his blood run cold. The harsh reprimand felt like a slap in the face. He glanced around the room. Nobody seemed to care. Guests continued sipping their drinks, barely acknowledging the scene unfolding before them. Enough was enough. Jordan's stomach churned. He approached the scene with slow but determined steps. It was time to speak up. Diddy stood near the grand fountain at the courtyard center, ready to deliver his annual toast. The crowd quieted in anticipation. Champagne flutes raised, laughter pausing. Jordan stepped forward, interrupting the moment. "Actually, I think we need to talk about something before we raise our glasses," he said, his voice carrying over the soft background music. A murmur spread through the crowd. Diddy looked surprised, but gestured for Jordan to continue. Jordan took a deep breath. "I've been here all night watching the celebration, and something has been bothering me. I can't stay silent anymore. The way the black staff has been treated tonight is unacceptable. We talk about black excellence, but it shouldn't just be about who gets invited to the party. It has to include everyone involved in the success and celebration." The room fell into a tense silence. Even Diddy was taken aback. Some guests nodded in agreement, while others, including some of Diddy's closest friends, shifted uncomfortably. Jordan didn't back down. "This isn't just about tonight. It's about every night like this, where we celebrate our success without acknowledging the unseen efforts of those who make it possible. The black staff here tonight have been treated as invisible, as if their worth is limited to serving others. If we truly stand for something, we need to demand equality not only in the limelight, but also in the shadows." The crowd remained silent, unsure how to respond. Diddy stood there, his smile replaced by a more thoughtful expression. He nodded slowly, giving Jordan space to speak. "Because it's not just about creating opportunities for us to shine. It's about fostering a culture where everyone has the chance to rise." Jordan concluded firmly, but calmly. A hushed murmur spread across the room. Some faces turned red with discomfort. Others looked visibly moved. A few guests exchanged uncertain glances, perhaps for the first time recognizing the deeper layers of inequality that had persisted unnoticed. Diddy cleared his throat, his hand still holding the champagne flute. "I hear you, Jordan," he said, his voice low but sincere. "This is something we need to address." For a moment, it seemed the tension might break the night's glossy surface, but then a few longtime patrons shifted uneasily. The atmosphere was thick with the awkwardness of an unfamiliar conversation. A few snickers broke the silence, and Jordan noticed dismissive gestures from some of the more privileged attendees. Sensing the shifting dynamics, Diddy cleared his throat again and raised his glass. "Tonight is about recognizing all that we've achieved," he declared. His eyes briefly met Jordan's. "We'll do better?" Jordan nodded, though he wasn't entirely convinced. As the moment passed, he felt a sting of defeat, knowing his words would only start a conversation, not end it. In the hours that followed, the aftermath of Jordan's confrontation spread rapidly. Clips from the party, including his speech and Diddy's response, went viral. The media seized the footage, analyzing every moment with scrutiny. Headlines ranged from "Diddy confronted over inequality at his own party" to "Jordan Reed takes a stand against racism in Hollywood elite events." Jordan's social media exploded with a mix of praise and criticism. Fans and some celebrities lauded his courage to speak out, while others, especially those within the entertainment industry, attempted to downplay the moment's significance. Diddy, known for his impeccable public relations, released a formal statement the next morning. "I understand the concerns raised by Jordan last night. I've always aimed to create a space for us to thrive, but I also recognize that there are areas where we, as a community, need to improve. I will be reviewing how we handle our events moving forward, ensuring that everyone, no matter their role, is treated with dignity and respect." The statement received mixed reactions. Some appreciated the acknowledgement, while others remained skeptical, questioning whether the commitment to change would go beyond mere words. Within Hollywood circles, the debate intensified. Some black celebrities reached out to Jordan, offering support, while others closer to the industry's power structure wondered if he had overstepped. Several prominent publicists and agents cautioned him that his actions might jeopardize future collaborations with the industry's most influential players. However, for Jordan, the real battle was within himself. Despite the overwhelming media frenzy, he found comfort in his convictions. Speaking the truth in that moment had been the right decision, even if it cost him personal and professional opportunities. In the weeks following the event, Jordan continued to reflect on its aftermath. Although he faced pressure from certain industry corners to tone down his stance and conform, his resolve remained steadfast. He began using his platform to advocate for greater equality in the entertainment industry, pushing for initiatives that uplifted both black creatives and those working behind the scenes. Meanwhile, Diddy followed through on his promise to review the party's operations. In the ensuing months, changes were implemented. Black staff members were given more prominent roles during events, with clear pathways for advancement. The treatment of workers, regardless of race, underwent increased scrutiny, with Diddy personally overseeing some of the reforms. Jordan received a message from the young waiter he had spoken to during the party, a simple text that read, "Thank you for standing up for us." It meant more than you know. That message stayed with Jordan for days, serving as a reminder that even small acts of courage could lead to significant changes. It wasn't about a single speech or moment of defiance. It was about opening doors for more people to speak out and demand better. Change could be slow, but it was possible. One conversation, one action at a time. Months later, as Jordan stood on stage accepting an award for his music, he reflected on that night at the party. The glamorous, seemingly perfect world of Hollywood was far from flawless. But in that flawed, complicated environment, voices like his could make a difference. The fight wasn't over, but the conversation had begun. For Jordan, that was enough to keep moving forward. Subscribe now to join the conversation, challenge perspectives, and discover stories of courage, change, and redemption. Together, we can create a world where understanding triumphs over prejudice.